Everyone can scoot together a little bit more.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacob Frey. I'm the mayor of Minneapolis, and I'm hot as hell. And as it turns out, a lot of people around our world are hot as hell. We've got temperatures that are rising. The heat in our oceans is getting warmer all the time. We've got the lungs of the world in the form of the rainforests that are so often on fire. And we need to act, not tomorrow, not the next day, but right now. And that's why I'm so excited to be here with city council colleagues, with community leaders, with climate advocates, union members, and city staff. And we are announcing an historic investment here in Minneapolis to meet our climate goals in the next 10 years. And it is no secret right now that climate change is affecting every single corner of our world. You've seen how hot it is down in the Southwest right now. You've seen what's happening in Phoenix. And the summer we're experiencing could very well be the coolest that we will experience for the rest of our lives. That's got to tell you something. What it should tell you is that action is not optional. We need to step into this. This needs to be an all-in effort, and this is not a new issue. We know temperatures are rising, greenhouse gas emissions are increasing, and little by little, we're seeing natural disasters that are impacting more and more communities around the world. It's not just as if the first person to die of climate change has already been born. The first people to die of climate change are already dead. So it's on us to take the next step and the step after that to make sure that we're taking quick and aggressive action towards our climate change goals. The truth is that we can't wait. We're already behind. Every sector, every level of government, every partnership needs to be investing in protecting our climate, our planet, and our people right now. This must be an all-in effort to reach our renewable energy goals because lives depend on it. We must not just think of ourselves as the mayors, the council members, and the advocates for the residents that are living here right now. We got to think of ourselves as the mayors and the council members and the advocates of the people that aren't here yet. This is about our collective future, about acting to protect it. So I announced at my State of the City address in May that the city achieved 100% of its renewable energy goals for city-owned buildings this year. We're proud of that, but it's not nearly far enough. We need to meet the city-wide goals that we have set for ourselves for the year 2030. So here's some of the good achievements of our climate work so far. We've saved $120 million in energy cost savings since 2018. While supporting more than 3,700 low-income residents and businesses. We've planted more trees than ever before, created more green energy jobs than ever before, supported rapid transit and more infrastructure, as well as electrical vehicle infrastructures across our city. We've expanded our green energy cost share, green business cost share program, which has helped provide funding for the solar panels that you see right above and behind us. We're here at Edison High School in Northeast, and I want to thank Councilmember Elliott Payne for having us. We've set goals and we've met them. That's great, but we have to keep going right now. And that's why we're here today, and that's why we're so excited. That's why we are so excited to announce what is most definitely our biggest, our boldest, our most ambitious effort that we've had yet. And that's the Climate Legacy Initiative. The Climate Legacy Initiative is an innovative way to meet our goals, to accelerate the work, and to make sure that we are doing it in an equitable fashion. Through the Climate Legacy Initiative, I'm proposing an additional $8 to $10 million budgeted in the year 2024 and then repeated in the years after that. This is going to triple the work that we are doing on climate. I'll say it again. We are going to be investing 3 times more than we ever have before, and we need to double down. This is an historic investment in ongoing climate work at the city, and it's the critical funding that will be raised via gas and electric utility fees. This funding will go directly back to ratepayers to lower their energy bills, to make sure that they are reducing their carbon footprint, and to make sure that energy efficiency improvements are made as quickly as possible. We estimate that this will cost the average homeowner an average of $8 to $12 per year. And this $8 to $10 million will be in addition to the climate action investments that we've made thus far. This is ongoing funding and it's new funding. For example, with this new funding, we'll be working to weatherize all homes in Minneapolis. We like to talk about the solar work that we're doing. That's important. But one of the best ways where you can get the most significant return on your investment is weatherizing homes throughout our city. We anticipate that this will be about 40,000 households throughout Minneapolis. Now, we're going to start first with our green zones. We're going to start first with our lower income communities to make sure that their homes are weatherized, that there's proper sealants, that there's passive energy use where it's possible, and we're going above and beyond what we've ever done before. So this means that homes are equipped to deal with the hottest and the coldest days of the year. And you all know we have these extremes in Minnesota. When your home is insulated, it helps our planet, it helps decrease your energy bills, and we estimate that the average household could save about $550 per year in energy savings. So look, this is good for the bottom line, it's good for the pocketbook, this is good for our planet, and it's good for reducing the carbon output that we have in our city right now. We in Minneapolis need to be able to do our part. City governments around the world have a role to play, and we want to be an example to follow. So this new initiative will help us fund our city's climate equity plan, which many of you are already familiar with. And this is our plan to significantly reduce pollution by the year 2030 and to become carbon neutral by 2050. And this plan includes things like what we've already talked to today. It's reducing utility bills, promoting green job training, planting more trees, and by the way, working with our tremendous union partners in getting there. The CLI will also begin building the staffing and programmatic capacity to take advantage of a lot of the additional investments that are going to be coming from our federal and state partners. This additional external funding we know is going to be critical to reaching our climate goals for every household and making sure that those 40,000 homes around our city are able to get the necessary investments and improvements to become weatherized. So is it a big plan? Sure, it is. But it's one we're committed to and one we're ready for. We plan on leading the nation in climate work, and the Climate Legacy Initiative will help us to do this. Before I wrap up, I want to give a big thank you to those that are here with us today for the work that they have put in and we have put into our climate work here at the city. I want to thank my council colleagues who are here with us, some of whom will be speaking shortly. Council President Jenkins, Council Vice President Lene Palmisano, Council Members Goodman and Chughtai, who have authored this work, Council Member Elliott Payne, who's passionate, and we're in his ward right now. And I would be remiss also if I didn't acknowledge the year's worth of work that my aide Peter Ebnett has done. He's been talking about this since 2019 or 2020. Obviously, there were a few interruptions along the way, but we're here, we're doing it. We're making this happen, not just on behalf of residents that we have here in our city at the moment, but residents for many generations to come. It's critical and it's on us. So with that, I also want to thank our local climate advocates and organizations. They push us and they should push us. That's their job. And it's our job to respond, to partner, and to work alongside them to get to really positive outcomes. And they've been spearheading this work and partnering with the city to get this job done. And I'm so proud to be working alongside them. And with that, I want to turn things over to my colleague, an advocate, and of course, a climate champion and Council President, Andrea Jenkins.
Thank you, Mayor Frey. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Jenkins, the president of the City Council, and this podium is a little shaky, but we want to make it work. The Climate Legacy Initiative is critical to the climate work that we're doing here at the city. It is about prioritizing people and their well-being. The work that we have ahead of us will undoubtedly make a difference in people's lives and allow us to rapidly address climate change. This is not a political cause. This is a human cause. It requires all hands on deck to protect our community, our state, our planet. It's about the people in our communities, and they must reap the benefits. Addressing climate change is one of the most pressing issues of our time. It's critical that we center the voices and the needs of our Black and Brown communities of color who experience the worst impacts of climate change and climate disaster. Our energy needs can be met, and we can reverse the effects of climate change with this aggressive action. I look forward to working with all of you and all of our partners, impacted communities, in meeting our shared sustainability goals. And I too want to thank all of our city staff, all of our climate activists and advocates around the city for the work that they continuously do to push this work forward. And I want to introduce my colleague, council member of the 10th Ward, Council Member Aisha Chughtai.
Thank you, Council President Jenkins. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Aisha Chughtai, and I have the honor of representing Ward 10 on the Minneapolis City Council. Along with Council Member Lisa Goodman, I'm one of the board members to the Clean Energy Partnership, a body that was created about 10 years ago to ensure the Minneapolis energy utilities, Xcel Energy and CenterPoint Energy, work in partnership with the city to help us ensure that we meet our climate goals. Both Minneapolis residents and city leaders are aligned in the need to take aggressive action to address climate change and build resiliency in every part of our community. Tomorrow, the City Council is set to pass the Climate Equity Plan, which is a 10-year vision for tackling this work. Through extensive community and stakeholder engagement, this plan puts equity at the center of our work on climate action. In partnership with Mayor Frey and the administration and the City Council, my office is committed to making sure that the Climate Legacy Initiative will prioritize its resources to fund climate solutions that benefit our Black, Indigenous, and communities of color, our low-income communities, and our renter communities, so that equity is truly at the center of our city's climate action. The work to fund the Climate Legacy Initiative begins at tomorrow morning's City Council meeting, where Councilmember Goodman and I, along with Council President Jenkins and Council Vice President Palmisano, will start the legislative process of updating our franchise fees between the city and Xcel Energy and CenterPoint Energy. These added resources will be dedicated to the Climate Legacy Initiative and our city's climate action work. This process is going to take several months, and it will include the opportunity for public hearings and public input. Specific details about the fee changes are going to become available in the coming weeks. As those are finalized, we are all committed to making sure that we're transparent at every step of this process. As my colleagues have said, the work of meaningfully and urgently addressing climate change is hard, and it requires everyone to step up. At City Hall, we're all united in doing the city's part. So next we'll have T. McClenty from MN 350.
Thank you, Council Member. Hello, everyone. My name is T. McClenty, and I am the Executive Director with Minnesota 350. I am so honored to be here today alongside the Mayor, City Council members, our coalition partners, and our volunteer leaders who have worked tirelessly to advocate for a people-centered climate equity plan for Minneapolis that focuses on climate solutions, job creation, and reducing inequity. We are thrilled to see the funding dedicated to turning this plan into action. With the resources, staffing, and planning it needs to be successful. Everyone, regardless of their background or circumstances, deserves access to safe, stable neighborhoods, dignified work, and a healthy climate. Today marks an important day. Today, our city is putting people over profits by centering community voices over corporate interests and funding a climate equity plan that recognizes the disproportionate impacts of climate crisis on low-income Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities. The funding announced today represents a significant step forward for Minneapolis in addressing climate change and co-governing with the community to protect our planet and our people. There's still work to partner together to ensure that this plan is successful and that it prioritizes comfortable, affordable, carbon-free buildings for all of Minneapolis on an aggressive timeline. Reducing a racial wealth gap by creating access for communities of color to family-sustaining jobs in a growing green economy, and in ensuring every person has a safe, healthy, climate-resistant neighborhood connected to accessible, carbon-free transportation. Today, we celebrate. Today, Minneapolis became a model for cities across the state and country of what effective community-centered approaches to climate action can look like. But today, we celebrate. And I turn it over to Kevin Prentice.
The Laborers International Union of North America, LIUNA, in Minnesota, North Dakota. It's a great privilege to be here, and I want to thank the mayor and council president and council members for the hard work that they've put in to get us here, and say that I'm really pinch hitting for Dan McConnell, who's president of the Minneapolis Building Trades. We're one of the building trades. This is something that involves all the building trades. The members of LIUNA build and maintain our building, civil and energy infrastructure in Minneapolis and across Minnesota, North Dakota, and across the nation, alongside our brothers and sisters in other building trades. They're proud of the work that they do for generations. Our members and other building trades have kept the lights on, they've kept people's homes warm, and they've allowed businesses to keep running by providing a reliable, affordable energy infrastructure. And as we make this transition that is necessary to rapidly address the problem of climate change, it's critical that we adapt along with that. And our principle on that is we need to act quickly on climate, but we also need to make sure that the jobs of the future are just as good and just as available to local workers as the jobs that have supported families and put food on the table for many generations doing this important work. And that's what I most appreciate about the city's commitment and the commitment of all the parties, including the activists and the legislators and the city council members, the mayor, to making sure that we are creating good union jobs, the same as Joe Biden and Congress implemented the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure bill with a priority of rebuilding our infrastructure in a way that's cleaner, that's better, and that supports creation of good union jobs and career opportunities in all kinds of things. Just thinking about the weatherization of homes, there are sheet metal workers who are being trained in apprenticeship programs right now. There are electricians who are ready to make panel upgrades and create union career opportunities. We have asbestos laborers that can remove vermiculite from houses. All that's work that's needed. There's a huge amount of work. And if you look through the 96-page plan, most of that is job that involves building things, maintaining things, including our public sector members who work for the city of Minneapolis and the Parks Board. And I think the last part is this is a climate equity plan. There's a commitment to equity. We see that as central. I think the way that that happens is we're creating openings into union construction careers and to union public service careers for communities that have been historically underrepresented in that work. We're seeing that happening already today. If you look at the Sherco Solar Project, the largest solar project in the upper Midwest that has kicked off construction, that Excel is building up at the site of the coal plant, that's going to replace a coal plant with a huge solar plant. And there's an initiative, the Power Up initiative, that's focused on recruiting with the building trades folks from places like North Minneapolis, right? All kinds of communities that are underrepresented to go to work on that, to get into union careers that don't just mean in energy, but in all the other types of construction work that we need. We're committed to that work, working with Centerpoint, working with Excel on these innovations, and appreciate the chance to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, T. Thank you, council members. Thank you to the whole coalition that is here with us. It's no small endeavor to build out a coalition of all of these different stakeholders. Ed Jaramillo from my staff, thanks for helping to bring the crew together. This is a really proud day. It's an historic moment. This is by far the biggest investment that we have ever made towards our future and specifically the climate. And with that, we'll open it to questions.
Go over the actual details of the changes in the franchise fee for electric and gas. I think there's 3 categories for each.
There are 3 categories for each. Do you feel comfortable going over? We got Patrick, come on up.
Hi, my name is Patrick Hanlon. I'm the Deputy Commissioner of Sustainability, Healthy Homes, and Environment. So yeah, we're looking at the franchise fee similar to what was done back in 2017-18, and looking how we had a 0.5% increase in the franchise fee and dedicating that towards climate change. The mayor referenced approximately a 3 times greater investment. So looking at something similar, and yes, there's different sectors, and so looking at staff is presenting options to council and to the mayor on how we can make that more fair and make those charges more fair across the board.
Okay, so you guys don't actually have numbers. I know the ordinance is just a placeholder now. Don't have numbers yet?
Correct. Yeah, they're just introducing the ordinance now, and so looking at approximate numbers of what's going to be brought forward in terms of funding what needs to be done out in the community. Yeah, thank you. The mayor is reminding me it's residential, mid-sized commercial, and large commercial and industrial. So looking at those 3 categories.
Can you spell your name for again?
Yes, Patrick Hanlon, Hanlon.
That's your name.
Yep. Thanks.
So you'll see increases across those areas. We're still laying down the final figures, though, which we should be able to get to you. You could probably do the math as we're looking between $8 and $10 million in total. The question is not whether there will be a percentage increase. Of course, there will be. The question is how it's divvied up, and that's what we're sorting out in the coming weeks as this goes to council.
Right. This always has the potential to become a regressive thing, depending on how it's done. How are you guys going to tackle that issue?
Well, the goal would be to avoid the regressive nature of what you just pointed out.
What's the percentage of the rate hikes that you're proposing, the electric and utility fees?
Can you get the question one more time so I can hear it?
The hikes in fees and the electric fees you're adding on. So I just wanted to know the percentage increase.
So to give a little bit more background, the city collects utility fees. That is because largely the utilities that we have a monopoly in our city. And so we get utility fees to compensate for that. This is talking about raising the utility fees, and those are then paid out in a percentage through residential, mid-sized commercial, large industrial. So those are the 3 categories. Again, the total figure that we're looking at collecting is between $8 and $10 million. We don't have the specific percentages yet for the increase of those 3.
So it would be per household?
So per household, the average household will see a $12 increase in their bills per year. So that's the average household. Now, obviously, that's if they use the same amount of energy. Now, the hope is that they will use less energy as well. Now, in addition to that, the monies that we're collecting, we're going to be able to put directly back into these programs, whether that's green business cost share or weatherization. And as Councilmember Goodman correctly points out, the goal is that while there is an additional payment, obviously, that goes towards the franchise fee, that payment is offset, hopefully significantly so, by the investments that we're making to reduce energy bills on the whole. And this is also a good thing because in Minnesota, a bill that was passed, I believe, back in 2012 or so, it took utilities away from charging based on the amount of energy that was consumed. Obviously, we want to have the inverse incentive. We want utilities to find a way for less energy to be consumed so that we are collectively reducing our carbon output. So that was an important change that was made back more than 10 years ago. And it's one that we're able to utilize today also through these additional investments in weatherization, sealants, et cetera.
As I understand it, this doesn't need to go to the PUC. The city council and your signature is good enough for the franchise fees?
That's correct.
Next one. Can I ask how will a homeowner contact you? They have to apply
For the programs?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't want to stay up here.
Yeah. Again, Patrick Hanlon, Deputy Commissioner, Sustainability, Healthy Homes and Environment. Yeah, there's going to be we're really looking at the folks that provide service now. I know there's folks here from Center for Energy and Environment, Energy Sense, Energy Smart. There's probably partners that are going to be developed through this work to be able to make sure that the services that we provide, and looking at federal, state, utility dollars and how people can leverage those funds, that people can access those existing programs, and we make this as easy for people as possible, whether it's a residential homeowner, a business owner, or a large commercial and industrial owner. And I should mention, as well as making sure that programs are available for renters to be able to be driving work in their own properties.
Any more questions?
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
There we go.
Can I get to do a group photo with everyone? Yeah. No, can I?
Lisa, Kim, get up here.
We're gonna do a group photo.